You're listening to WP Living with a WordPress theme review, and I want to title this one The Battle for Interactive Supremacy. And here's why. I've spoken about this before on my blog, but I think we're starting to see the results of an ever tighter premium theme market coming to the fore. And what do I mean by this? Well, the output of premium themes has increased, is increasing, continues to expand and increase. More developers coming into the fold, whether it's through marketplaces or setting up independent theme companies. That's just a fact. Now, the net result of this is that the more competition there is, the more developers are having to find innovative ways to attract their customers. But this is not about gimmicks, right? I think the age of gimmickry and premium WordPress themes is well and thankfully well behind us. Talking about a couple of years back where you could throw in maybe a slider, add some bling to your theme and kind of hoodwink your audience. I think audiences have become much more savvy, just as developers have, just as the WordPress platform as a whole has. And so I think it's more these days about offering something unique that the competition is not offering. Not only that, but offering something to your users that is actually usable, that actually makes sense and actually contributes to pushing the boundaries of the WordPress platform. And now I want to touch on that with this theme in question. I'm on the presentation page for a theme called Concept. It's being sold on the Theme Forest marketplace. It was recently launched here. It's retailing for $35. And I don't want to do an extensive theme review. I'm rather going to call this something else, more of a highlight. I want to just highlight the concept of interactivity and see how this theme is taking part in this battle for interactivity. I just want to say a few words and juxtapose this theme with another theme I reviewed recently on similar lines, and that theme is called Wow Way. It's also selling on Theme Forest, incidentally, and one of its major features is the interactive front grid layout for the portfolio items, and I posted a short video showing that interaction right there. And if I play it, we can see a video within a video, which is kind of quirky, but you can just see in a few seconds what I mean. There you are. Hover over effects, lots of animation, very interactive design. That was the kind of idea behind Wowway. Now, I think Concept is doing something similar, but very different. It's also dealing with interactivity, and I think that's only going to increase. Interactivity is itself a consequence of the types of devices that we're starting to use more and more in our everyday lives. Devices that are tactile, that demand touch response. And so interactivity and responsive design in the broader sense, not just screen size, but in the broader sense of responsive interaction, thinking about the relationship between the user and the interface in a tactile way is now starting to flourish, to bloom, to blossom. And Concept does something very interesting. And I'm going to stick true to form in the sense of going over the feature set first before getting into the demo. And I just want to take a look at this. Look at this graphic presentation. It's interesting because it reveals, as usual, quite a bit about the theme. But this time I think it's done very well. And you can see already this theme has sold 77 copies, so it's doing fairly well. It's only been online for a few days, so it's selling quite well. But we've got several things in this presentation image that are revealing of what the theme is trying to do. The first one is obvious, the tagline. The future is here. It's a very bold statement. It's kind of reminiscent of, do you remember that company, the mobile company, Orange? The future is bright, the future is orange, that slogan about thinking ahead, about innovation. Most tech companies, most design companies want to convince their audience that they are in fact a step ahead of the competition. And Concept is no different. But it's mixing an interesting, it's doing an interesting mix between old and new for me. The font type here reminds me very much of Russian futurism, somewhat, and so we're taking a step back into the early 20th century with that. But of course Russian futurism was all about trying to think outside of the 19th century, trying to think beyond. And I think we have something of that sense of trying to go beyond here too with this theme, because if you look at the graphics, they're kind of alluding to something that is out beyond boundaries, beyond explanation, beyond words. We've got lights and swirls and inner spaces and deep space. This is all very nice psychological kind of information that the designer is giving the audience. gives you a sense of something happening in the future, something we're not used to. And that's all part of the theatrical concept of this design, and it works very well. It's slick, it's pretty to look at. Good job on the design, presentation, marketing. If we go further into the feature set, let's just take a quick look at this. It's quite interesting for me. It has a powerful typography plugin. So typography is something very central to this theme. And we'll see that. A lot of work has gone into the layout and spacing of font types, and it's a really nice treatment of fonts at work here. We've also got other things going on. We've got clear outline of documentation, example websites, support forum, and then we've got the demos. And the demos are nicely done. You can see that this theme has many options already because you can already see different demos at work. You can demo it as a portfolio grid kind of thumbnail image type demo, or as a text font oriented type demo. And you can have black, dark screen versions or bright screen versions. Then we get into the feature set proper, and we have the ability to display a portfolio with category filters, which is a staple of portfolio themes nowadays, thumbnails or text for listing modes, and you can see those two different modes there in those thumbnails up above, a featured slider which has HTML5 functionality, so it should work on mobile devices. It has built-in Dribble feed. Dribble is becoming the default site for creatives and designers and so on. It has other sections, templates for services. It has a blog, contact form. It's socially kind of aware, and it's responsive. And it's compatible with iPhone and iPad. I think that's very clear in the images here. Moving on down, look how the slider works, the slide management works. You can see here, if you click on the image, it takes you to a nice little demonstration on YouTube. And if we just watch a few seconds of that, you can see that there's a drag and drop way of managing the portfolio. And clearly, the crux of this theme, it's all built around a portfolio. So that's the most important thing. It's the heart of the theme. And you can see it's interactive and nice little drag and drop functionality in the admin side of things. So a lot going on around the portfolio. Then finally you can see that it supports various types of input options, or as it claims, all input options, from the mouse to scrolling to trackpads, touchpads. So across devices it's built for interactivity in that way. So there's a lot of thought gone into interactivity, and let's look at the interactive side of this theme right now, because that's what I want to focus on. I'm going to launch a demo. I'm going to go for the light background demo and the image, the graphic one, as opposed to the font, the text-driven one. So let's click on that and launch that demo. And let's have a look at what's going on with this theme and what it does differently to the competition. So far, not that different to the competition. We're seeing more and more of these grid-type themes that are just image-based, that are like Wowway, for example, was another example of this type of interactive thing. But this theme takes it a step further, I think. If you click on one of these, you get a loading, a little readout that says the portfolio item is loading. And once it's loaded, it loads a series of images related to that portfolio item. And now you see you have a nice little arrow that your cursor, your mouse cursor, becomes an arrow symbol with which you can use to navigate this portfolio entry. So if we click on the right side, we'll switch to the next page, or we can drag it like a touch screen. And so this is where the interactive side with an iPad comes into use, and we can navigate through it that way. We can move to the next project right from that screen, or we can go back to our thumbnail layout. But as you can see, it's very smooth. And this nice design and this integration of waiting and looking at checking out the details before launching the design, this is really nicely done. So you're never pausing, you're always looking at something, always something going on, and then you can jump into it and play around with it. You get these big full screen images that really bring these portfolio items to life. They're vivid, they're there, it's almost 3D in a way. And I know this has a lot to do with the choice of graphics and the way they're presented, but I do think this really has some nice interactivity and really nice design concept, and I think that's setting this theme apart from the rest at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of this type of thing to come, more ideas and innovation on how to interact with portfolio items and WordPress themes in general. But this is clearly a step in that direction, a step in the direction of the future. I think in that sense, the name, concept, and the tagline, "The future is here," work well. I think that's true. I don't think they're a disservice to the theme at all. I think it lives up to the standard it's set itself. I like it a lot. I wouldn't use it personally because I don't run a design company, but I can imagine for someone who's in that field, this is very impressive and very attractive and a very functional and of the moment design. It's built for portable devices. That's what people are consuming this kind of work on these days. That's what's expected in the industry, the design industry. So it's really up there, catering to the right to the minute. I like it a lot. That's been my highlight, if you like, of the concept theme and what I think it's doing slightly differently from the competition. I'll do more of these videos in which I highlight certain aspects of themes in the future. I kind of prefer this to doing a kind of all-out review. I think it's more poignant that way if we highlight something as opposed to just, going through the motions. That's it from me. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more to come.